Hi, Aries. Welcome to your May 2018 Astro Update. It's Rena here, and May is a jam-packed month. I feel like April didn't have a lot going on and was kind of intense. I think that May is going to be a lot better because we have a lot of planets in Taurus, and Taurus is really mellow. You know, Aries is a sign that is associated with fire energy, and the Mars energy is very aggressive. And so as the planets go into Taurus, everything starts to get a little bit more chill. And for you, remember that Mercury went direct in mid-April. This was in your first house of self, and this is the house that you rule. So Mercury began to gain ground after that point. And on May 3rd, it gets to the point where it was when it retrograded. So it gets back up to that degree of Aries, and so it's out of its shadow. Now, I think that for you particularly, this is important because Mercury did retrograde in your sign. So you may have felt like something to do with your life in general was kind of put on hold, or things were not progressing. And now finally, at the beginning of this May period, you can say, now I'm moving forward. And of course, there's going to be some more retrogrades in the future, including your ruler Mars retrograding starting in late June, but there's also a shadow period before that. But we're not going to talk about that now. We're just focused on May. And speaking of Mercury, on the 13th, Mercury finally goes into Taurus after that big delay. This is the house of earned income. So with Mercury in the second house, your mind is on your money for whatever reason. You might be trying to think of ways to earn more money. There might be this brainstorming that you're doing, but you're definitely starting to think about that. And then you're going to, you do have the sun also in that house as the month begins. So you're like all about the money when it comes to how it's affecting you personally. You're very interested in increasing your money, and it is connected to the work that you do. But here's the thing. On the 15th, a couple of days after Mercury goes into Taurus, we have a very important event. Uranus, which is a 7-year transit through a sign, and it's known for erratic energy, for revolutionary ideas, and just nonconformist tendencies. Uranus goes into Taurus in your second house of earned income on the same day that there's a new moon in Taurus. Now, obviously, if Uranus is going into Taurus, it's going to be at 0 degrees, and the new moon is actually 24 degrees. So this is no conjunction, but it still is in the same sign. And I look at that, and on the same day, a new moon, a new beginning in Taurus. So for you, this is about the money that you earn. And you may be, in the next 7 or 8 years, maybe it's 7.5, who knows, with these retrogrades, it might be closer to 8, Aries, you may be really thinking outside of the box in terms of how to earn money. You may come up with a few ingenious ways to do so, to attract it to you. And you may experience freedom, because that's what Uranus represents as well when it comes to the money that you earn. So you may actually bring in quite a haul. You can never assume that whatever it is that you earn right now will be the most you can ever get. And some people, they tend to be very fatalistic when it comes to certain things. And let's say you're an older Aries person in your 50s or 60s. You may look at your current job. You may say, this is the job I'm going to have until I retire. And so this looks like as much money as I can ever earn. And yet you have no way of knowing whether something will come along that actually allows you to earn money like just a crazy increase. There may be a bunch of swings up and down. It may not be stable. And this could also point to a type of career that you have where you're not working 9 to 5 and you're earning money in sporadic ways. But a lot of people get nervous about Uranus because it's such a wild card, but it can be a great increase. I see Uranus as a wonderful, omen of great financial gain in the second house, while other people may be like, oh my God, what's going to happen? I think as an Aries person, you are okay with the unknown because you're like a natural maverick, a natural warrior, and so you're not looking for a safe existence. And this could bring great wealth. And I can't tell you how, but it just could come out of the blue when you talk about Uranus. Anything can happen, basically. So you have a new moon there, and you have Uranus entering this sign that it's going to be in that second house for the next 7 years. But here's the thing, too. It will be retrograding back into your sign. Yeah, that's the other part. It's been in your sign for almost a decade as well. So it's been influencing your personality, the way that other people receive you. And now that it's left there, things may settle down with your life in general, but it will go back during a retrograde period later this year into your sign for the last hurrah. So plant those seeds of intention around the 15th of May with the new moon there. And the very next day, Mars goes into Aquarius. And this is your 11th house of friendships, group associations, and your long-range goals or hopes and wishes, okay? And Mars in this house is pretty darn aggressive, where you're really going after your dreams. It's like no holds barred. No holds barred attitude when it comes to anything that deals with what you really want to do. It may not even have to do with career matters. Also, watch out for aggression with your friends, with your social circle. Because, Mars, being your ruler, you should know this by now, but Mars can be an instigator, a kind of a catalyst for drama for whatever reason. So whenever Mars goes into a particular house, look at what the house represents and try your best not to ruffle any feathers. It doesn't mean you have to be phony. It just means don't get aggressive, because you'll have a tendency to get aggressive. Like, so during this time from the 16th of May onwards, you may somehow pick a fight with a friend. And maybe it's a long time coming. Maybe there was something that has been bothering you for a while, but this might be the time you decide to pick your battles. And it may be and have a negative outcome. So just keep that in mind. On the positive side, you may be very aggressive or ambitious about networking, and this can, help you in your career goals and stuff like that. Speaking of that, before Mars goes into Aquarius, it's going to be in Capricorn. It's going to be in that 10th house of career for the first 16 days of the month. So half of the month is going to be in that 10th house. So that means that this may be a carryover where you have been advancing career-wise and now you're networking. On the 19th, Venus goes into Cancer, which is your 4th house of home and family. The 4th house is one of the angular houses and is considered one of the most important houses. Of course, with Venus There could be monetary gain from real estate or family, especially the mother. It can be that you are beautifying your house. Maybe you are getting it redecorated, including any kind of a paint job, and you may be experiencing some sort of harmony with your family of origin, especially your mother. If there was any kind of rift, this can be a time that you heal it. So before this date of the 19th, you're going to have Venus in the third house of siblings and also the internet and things like that. So you can benefit financially from communication. You can also benefit from siblings, or you can soothe, you can, get those ruffled feathers calmed down with them as well. So it may be that you mend the fences with your brothers and sisters and then move on to your parents if you've had a falling out with all of them. On the 20th, the sun goes into Gemini, and this is a friendlier angle for Aries. This is going to be in that third house of communications, or communication. I should say communications because there's all kinds. The internet is a big one, but also any kind of writing, public speaking, teaching, learning, and this is the house of journalism and just the mind. So you may be even thinking about going back to school because, and actually, speaking of thinking of it, on the 29th of May, Mercury goes into that house. And for sure, then you may be even signing contracts about, or maybe filling out applications for college, for university, but at least thinking about it. Maybe you're reading more, doing it on your own self-study. On the same day that Mercury goes into Gemini, on the 29th, there is a full moon in your opposite house of committed partnership, the 7th house in Sagittarius. Oh, it's not, I'm sorry. Why did I say, I'm sorry, I don't mean the opposite house. I mean the 9th house of the higher mind. I was thinking of Gemini just then, and then I was thinking of Sagittarius being in the opposite house. But for you, this is a fellow fire sign, Aries, and this is going to be in the 9th house, which is the house of travel. This is foreign travel, travel a long distance. Even if it's in the same country, like in the United States, going to the opposite coast or, just taking a road trip. Expansive activities. So it's the university level of, learning. Interestingly, you have Mercury entering its own, the house that it rules, the third house of learning and teaching. And then on top of that, you have the full moon in the 9th house, which is the opposite house, and that deals with higher learning. Also, it's the God house. So anything, spiritual pursuits are favored here because the full moon is a very psychic period. Your intuition may be on fire, and you may have a revelation, which, the full moon can bring these understandings to light about your relationship with God. And that can improve your life immensely. Okay, Aries, that's what I have for you for May. I hope that you enjoyed this. And if you would like an astrological reading, like a natal chart interpretation, please check out my website at rainandmoonastrology.com. The link is below. Take care. Bye.